Can I have you guys close your eyes for a second and just imagine. You get home from a long day of school and work. You work about 25 hours a week and you're taking 15 units a semester, fully loaded. So after that hectic and tiresome day, you get home and you take a hit from your wax pen to relax. What does the rest of your day consist of? Open your eyes. First thing you do is go eat. And then if that doesn't automatically put you in a food coma and passed out, you'd probably be stumped for the rest of the day. Instead of, let's say, getting home from your busy day and going to the gym, meal prepping, finishing up your project that's due this week, or catching up on some assigned readings. Instead of doing all these productive tasks, you have just wasted the few hours you have of spare time, but at least you're relaxed, right? We all know that medical marijuana is beneficial, but what about those who use it for recreational purposes? I know it doesn't cause cancer. We all know that. So why am I up here today? The use of recreational marijuana has negative long-term effects on persons' mental and physical health. My first secondary claim is that recreational use of marijuana leads to addiction. Dr. David E. Smith, a national leader in the treatment of addiction disease, states, I presently directly work with adolescents in treatment who are defiantly using highly concentrated marijuana and experiencing very adverse reactions. They're suffering from learning and academic dysfunctions. At a very young age, they have already become physically and mentally dependent on an amazingly array of different forms of marijuana. Dr. Smith also states that we need to look at the science and facts with which reasonable people will agree. Number one, no one has died from marijuana overdose, although some people have ingested way too much and wish they were dead or thought they were dying. Number two, young people below the age of 18 should not use marijuana as it may cause cognitive problems and inhibit intellectual development. And then the third one, the U.S. grown marijuana in its presented form is many times stronger than in the past. The new variations of hash, HTC oils, and edibles are stronger than ever and should be used with great caution. According to BBC News reporter Lucy Wallace and clinical psychologist Sarah Wilp Helps, we used to think that our brains were fully developed by a very early teenagerhood, and we now realize that the brain doesn't develop or doesn't stop developing until mid-20s and early 30s. People who smoke recreational marijuana are not only ingesting stronger levels of THC, but are also abusing it. Dr. Smith has provided us with evidence on how the use of marijuana causes cognitive problems and addiction, alongside Sarah, who clarifies how our brains are still developing until early 30s. What does this mean for you as college students? The secondary claim that I have is recreational use of marijuana causes loss of motivation. According to Christina and Michael Phillips, many of these cognitive deficits can impact college success as a number of specific impairments. For example, attention, inhibition, and executive functioning are directly connected to self-regulation in a learning environment. They performed a study that would examine the association between marijuana use and craving and how it affects academic motivation and academic effort. So the experiment they had was, they had 57 college students, 37 male, 63 female, who were recruited and used that specific, they used specific students who were screened as eligible. So basically they had to be 18 years or older, they had to be enrolled in one prior semester, reporting using marijuana at least 2 days a week, and were tested positive for marijuana urine screening. Oh, and also owned a cell phone with text messaging. Once they were proven eligible, the participants completed an interview. During the interview, they were sent a text, and they were asked to reply while still in the interview. Then, within a 2-week period, they were sent random texts, 3 random texts a day for the court, and then they were asked to go to a 2-week follow-up appointment. So the findings of this experiment. Marijuana use was conceptualized in 2 different ways. The amount of time in minutes smoked and the number of time participants smoked, since they were last texted. When participants experience greater levels of cravings at one point in time, they tend to spend more time smoking and reported frequently smoking at the next assessment point. Basically, time spent smoking marijuana accounted for 7% of the variance in participants' GPA while already accounting for other important factors. The third secondary claim, which is recreational use of marijuana leads to lower quality of life. According to Morgan Sherburns from the University of Michigan, in 2016, 39% of full-time college students aged 19 to 22 indicate that they use marijuana at least once in the past 12 months. 22% indicate that they use at least once in the prior 30 days. Both percentages are high, and they represent a steady increase since 2006. So daily or near daily use of marijuana, defined as having used 20 or more times in a 30-day period, was at 4.9% in 2016. This among the highest levels seen in over 30 years. The use of recreational marijuana has negative effects, or has negative long-term effects on a person's mental and physical health. I'm doing my closing statement.
Feel free to close. I haven't told you to shut up. I've just told you you've run out of 6 minutes.
Okay. The use of marijuana will not only cause cognitive problems, but will also lead to addiction. In the academic setting, recreational marijuana smokers tend to drop out of college due to lack of motivation. What does this all mean? Smoking recreational marijuana will withhold you from finishing off that degree you've been working so hard for. No degree means no high-paying office job, no luxury car, no dream house, no traveling. Smoking recreational marijuana means complacency, because how can you keep motivation to live your best life when you have already developed an addiction or are in the process of losing all motivation for a better life? Isn't that why we are all here at this university to begin with? Thank you.
Okay, it takes you a long time to get to the proposition. The visualization at the beginning is probably a bit more distracting than you want it to be. So you want to get to the proposition a little bit quicker. It takes you more than a minute to get to what the topic actually is. So I think that's problematic. The contents of the speech are not previewed for the audience, but we do know what your proposition is, so that's pretty effective. And I think there's probably plenty of reason to believe that this will be controversial. The secondary points are signposted in the body of the speech. That I thought was pretty reasonable. The information on the first point is largely dependent upon the one expert testimony that you provide. It did sound like it was authoritative information, but it's a little bit hard to make a generalization based on just the opinion of this one person's observations. I'm not sure how widespread that behavior is going to be. The notion that it is stronger and that people below particular ages are more affected by it, I think that's a good point. I don't know that that connects to the addictive issue, but I think that connects more to other issues concerning long-term consequences. On your second point, suggesting that it's going to result in a variety of cognitive problems, for instance, I think that you did an okay job talking about some of the effects, but again, you spent a lot of time describing this one study and the setup of the study, and the setup of the study is less important than what the conclusions of the study are, and the conclusions of the study are the thing that you spend the least amount of time on this, so I think that's a little bit problematic. Your third point had good information about the widespread use of marijuana. There might be some information there that connects back to the first point on addictiveness, but there's not really any information that talks about what the negative effects are on that particular point. When you say the quality of life, well, so what? A lot of people are smoking a lot of marijuana. How does that reduce their quality of life? You don't really say, and I think that that's a little bit problematic. Most of the presentation is red, and you've got that note up in front of your face the whole time that you're speaking, and that's a little bit annoying. So let's see if we can avoid that in the future. All right, thank you.